All right, welcome to another video. Before I get started in today's video, I want to just say something. You know, people don't realize the spiritual consequences of making these videos. The enemy doesn't like when I say things that other people don't really know. Something that is kind of new that people aren't really talking about. The enemy really doesn't like when I mention them, when I talk about stuff like that. So, you know, when I do these videos, man, I get hammered. Like, you know, of course the enemy, he hits you in the mind, will, emotions, or he causes strife in the family. He causes financial struggles. He causes like things to be confusing. So it's a lot of confusion into your life and all. So with that, the enemy has really been hitting me hard, okay, in a lot of different ways since the last video I made. But we're gonna continue on because, hey, we ain't finna stop. I noticed something when I was preparing for the last video, and then I was listening to some other stuff, and I realized something that I don't think anybody's ever talked about. I've never heard anybody really talking about this. So I'm going to hit these scriptures in order that I have them marked in my Bible. And I'm just realizing, I think this is Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58. This Bible, I'm using the Geneva Bible 1560. And it doesn't have each page marked with the book that you're in. So sometimes, you know, you look at the page and it doesn't have the book that you're in. So this is Isaiah 58, and I want to start down in verse 5, and I'll read a few, and you'll see the pattern and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It says, "Is it such a fast that I have chosen, that a man should afflict his soul for a day, and to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to lie down in sackcloth and ashes? Wilt thou call this a fasting, or an acceptable day to the Lord? Is it not this fasting that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to take off the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that wander into thine house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and hide not thyself from thine own flesh? Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall grow speedily. Thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of the Lord shall embrace thee." All right, and I'll go a little bit more. "Then thou shalt call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. For if thou, Lord, shall answer, thou shalt cry." Okay, and say, Here I am, if thou take away from the midst of the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and wicked speaking. All right, so he's saying, what kind of fast is it that I have asked you to do? Did I ask you to lay in sackcloth and in ashes all day? Did I ask you to bow down your head? Did I ask you to, you know, afflict your soul? You know, and then he goes into saying, you know, but I'm asking you, you know, to do these other things. All right, so that's the first one. Let's hit the next one. Let's go. We're in 2nd Esdras, chapter 2, starting in verse 20. It says, "Do right to the widow, judge the fatherless, give to the poor, defend the orphan, clothe the naked, heal the broken and the weak, laugh not a lame man to scorn, defend the maimed, and let the blind man come in unto the sight of my glory. Keep the old and young within thy walls. Whosoever thou findest the dead, or wheresoever thou findest the dead, set a sign upon them and commit them to the grave, and I will give thee the first place in my resurrection." All right. I'll read one more. Abide still, O my people, and take thy rest, for thy quietness shall come. Nourish thy children, O thou good nurse, and establish their feet, and get the next generation to doing the same thing. All right. Let's go to another one. Let's go to Tobit, chapter 1, starting in verse 16. And it says, And in the days of Enemessar, I did many alms deeds to my brethren. I gave my bread to the hungry, and my garments to the naked. And if I saw any of my race dead, and cast forth on the wall of Nineveh, I buried him. And if Sennacherib the king slew any when he came fleeing from Judea, I buried them privily. For in his wrath he slew many, and the bodies were sought for by the king, and were not found. All right. So these are the things that Tobit himself did. All right. Now let's go to the New Testament, because I know everybody loves to say, oh, that's just the Old Testament. We ain't got to do none of that stuff no more. You know, that's silliness. We don't do that. I'm in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, and we're going to start in verse 32. It says, And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd separateth the sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, and the goats on his left. Then shall the king say to them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, take the inheritance of the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungered, and you gave me meat. I thirsted, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me into you. I was naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, and fed thee, or athirst, and gave thee drink? And when saw we thee a stranger, and took thee into us? Or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it to me. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, which prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I thirsted, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not into you. And I was naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, or thirst, or stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them and say, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not unto the one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go into everlasting pain, and the righteous into eternal life. All right, so I want to make a mention here, something that I noticed just now in Tobit. Tobit said, you know, when I saw people of my race, when I saw people that are like me, that were dead, I buried them. Okay. And here Yeshua is saying, you know, the second group of people are saying, you know, when did we not minister unto thee? When did we do these things? When did we not do this? And Yeshua says, you did it, but you didn't do it unto the least of these. You didn't do it unto the least of the people. Okay. So it says, then shall he answer them and say, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. So the second group of people were doing the very things that Yeshua says they weren't doing, but they weren't doing it to the right people. All right, this is the difference. You know, a lot of churches today, and I'm going in a little bit different direction than what I intended to go in right here, but a lot of churches today have these, you know, where they go out into the community and they do all these different things, but they do them. Yeshua says you got to do it to the right people. Okay. Tobit is being a little bit more clear about it. He's saying, I went to the people that look like me, to my race, to Hebrews who were in captivity, you know, and these people hated us and they killed us and left us on the wall, left us in the streets, and he buried them, okay? And he did good to his people, all right, to the Hebrews. So Yeshua is talking about doing these things to the Hebrews. You know, a lot of churches, they go out and they do these things, but, or they do them to the right people. Yeshua is worried about his people, and it is his people that are hated. It is his people that look like me, that look like Yeshua, that are despised by everybody, that nobody wants to be around. Everyone says we're this, we're that. But anyway, the thing about this, right? What I come up on today is I saw a pattern. And as I thought about the pattern, I wanted to explore it and look up all the different places where it was. Yeshua didn't come up with this on his own. He got this from the Old Testament. He's just reciting things that were in the Old Testament. Isaiah, Ezra, Tobit, you know, have already said in the Old Testament, all right? And that is to do good to other people. That is to do good to Yahweh's people. The Hebrews have always been his chosen people. And he's kind of let them know, if you want to get into my kingdom, this is how you're going to do it. You know, we talk about storing up treasures in heaven. This is how you store up treasures in heaven, okay? You look for people who believe in Yah. You sow into their life. You find poor. You find people that are Yahweh's people, broken down, hurting, and all of that kind of stuff. And you go and you try to do what you can for them, all right? In modern day, everyone thinks, you know, the Jewish people, the Israelis, you know, oh, we can do good for them and we're storing up treasure in heaven. Or we can do good to anybody and store up treasure in heaven. But Yah is very specific in who and how you store up treasure in heaven. It is not, you know, just by giving the homeless person a couple dollars. I mean, I've done it a lot, you know. But once I realized this, I said we should be looking for people. We should be going into certain neighborhoods, certain areas, and looking for the people of Yahweh and looking to be a blessing to them. You know, I don't know. Ezra, you know, he had a thing where before he would eat, he would make sure he would make an extra plate, and he would find someone to give a plate of food to, you know, and then he would eat. And this was something he did on a regular basis. I can't say a daily basis, but he did it on a regular basis. And I started reading, you know, more into it, and I started realizing that all the information we got from the last couple of videos out of the book of Ezra, Ezra, he was doing something to get Yah's attention. He was doing something to get the attention of the angel, all right, that he would teach him things, right? So I started looking into that and saying, what are the things that he's doing? You know, what are these prophets doing? What is the difference between prophets of the Old Testament and us today? Why do we think there's no prophets today? Got a fly in here. Why do we think there's no prophets today? Why do we feel like an ordinary person can't be a prophet? You know, prophets basically, they built a relationship with Yahweh, and they built that relationship through obedience and all that kind of stuff. So when Esdras, in 2nd Esdras, he's praying, and the angel tells him what he needs to do to hear from Yah, to actually get in Yah's presence. And that is, and what he did before that is he was chaste from his youth. So he never been with the woman. He wasn't intimate. He wasn't doing anything sexual or nothing like that, okay? So that's number one, is controlling your body, controlling yourself, all right? Not allowing your desires to drive you. Then secondly, he stayed in prayer constantly, okay? And then he was looking for other things to do. How else can I improve my relationship with Yah? How else can what else can I do? So the angel kind of tells him, hey, in his prayer time, the angel told him, hey, look, do these things here. You know, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, bury the dead. And so he started doing it. And he started getting more and more revelation, okay? In today's time, we can do the same things to get into Yah's presence and to hear from him more and to hear his voice, and because we have to cultivate these things. He's telling the prophets to do this, and these are the things that the prophets are doing on a daily basis or near daily basis. You know, they're doing it on a regular basis. And it's something that they were doing intentionally. And I believe it's something we need to do intentionally as well. All right, so what I was saying was these, the prophets, you know, they had a routine of doing things like this, because it is what Yahweh wants us to do. So us in 2026, you know, modern day believers, we should be doing these same things. We need to start developing these ways, and to make sure that we're able to sow into someone else. We have to get creative. We have to think. You know, we're in wartime right now. There may be a lot of crazy things happening in the future, and we need to always be thinking, what can we do to help Yah's people? What can we do to open up a way to speak and to teach and to spread the gospel, the true gospel, you know, the true revelations that we understand. We have to figure out how to sow that in reality, what it looks like, what it sounds like. And as we do this, we will grow in our faith more. You know, I'm always looking for, how do we grow in our faith? How do we do this? How do we do that? You know, something else I realized today, or I thought about today, and I'm still praying through it, is in the book of Deuteronomy. I was listening to the audio Bible as I was sleeping. So when I woke up, I started last night listening to it, put it on, then went to sleep. And when I woke up, it was in Deuteronomy. And it was where Yah was telling people, hey, look, you're going into this land, and don't inquire about how they worship their gods. Don't, you know, tear down their idols, tear down the poles, tear down the groves, tear down the ways that they worship their idols. Tear it down. Don't join them. Don't eat the stuff they eat. You know, don't do the things that they do. Don't practice what they practice. And I thought about that today, and you know, and Yah was saying, you know, don't have pity on them, kill everything. And I was thinking about it today, and I said, how can we do this today? How can we tear down these things? Especially, you know, we can always do it in our own lives and in our own homes. But how do we go beyond ourselves? You know, I don't have these things in my house. I tell my boys, I tell my children, hey, you have to constantly push these things away, because there's always people that that will try to get you back into the church, back into the signs, you know, I got a son, has a little girlfriend. She knows that he is he's a Hebrew, but she doesn't really understand exactly what it means. And you know, and she got him a little cross with like a little saying to hang in his truck. And I was working on his truck, put a new alternator in, and I saw this little cross thing, and I said, oh, this is cute. His girlfriend must have put that in there. And I thought, it's crazy how, you know, you got a girlfriend and she's trying to help you. She's trying to sow into your life, the things that you're into. So she knows he's into the scriptures. She knows he's into building himself up spiritually. And she wants to kind of sow into that. But she doesn't really understand all of our, you know, what we do and why we do it. So she bought him this little cross thing with the little saying on it. And I saw it hanging in his truck. And, you know, it was one of those things that was like, I don't like it, but it's cute. I understand her trying. But, you know, I'm going to have to talk to her about that. And we'll have to talk about it. We don't do crosses. You know, we don't do imagery. So, but anyway, our lifestyle, the way we do things, we have to be intentional. And we have to learn what Yahweh wants, what he desires. And as we learn it, you know, of course, I'm going to tell you guys, hey, we need to start incorporating this and this and this into our life. But I want you guys to think about in wartime, how can we do this? Because Tobit was in wartime. They were actively hunting the Hebrews. They were actually killing every Hebrew they could find, or any Hebrew that was against, going against what the king wanted. Okay, in modern times, we have the U.S. government, we have different government systems, all right? We have religious systems, and you go against these systems, and those people who are at the top of these systems don't like it. Satan doesn't like when I talk about these types of things because it goes against the system that he's building, that he has. And government systems will do the same thing. If you go against what their agenda is, what they want society to be like, their ideal society, they will come after you and they will kill you. Okay, just like in Tobit's day. But what they would do, they would kill him and put him up on the wall as like a trophy. It's like a warning to say, we will kill you. It's just like in modern day, you know, I live in Mississippi, and it's one of those things where, you know, you see a noose hanging. A noose is just a symbol. It's a symbol that says, we'll kill you. We don't care. Okay, so you see a noose hanging somewhere, and it's like, okay, I know I'm in one of those areas that they will kill you and they don't care. But it's just a warning. All right. So what Tobit would do, good night, this fly. What Tobit would do is he would do what Yah called him to do. And then he would have to go and hide because the enemy was trying to kill him. We have to think of the same things. We want to obey Yahweh's ways. But we also need to understand that the enemy doesn't like it. The enemy will fight you. He will do everything he can to stop you from progressing Yahweh's kingdom and Yahweh's commandments. This world, this Babylonian system is all about breaking the commandments, breaking everything that Yahweh called us to do. And I told y'all, you know, one of the most dangerous phrases is do as thou wilt. Do whatever you want to do. And it's something that we can't do whatever we want to do. As long as you're doing things that are against Yahweh, it's okay. Once you start obeying Yahweh, then we have problems. Then there's problems. Then you get the pushback. And I'm getting a lot of pushback right now because of the messages I'm doing. My messages are going very, very against the spiritual nature of what Satan is building in the spirit. So I'm having a lot of issues, a lot of things going crazy right now, but it's okay. We're gonna keep pushing forward, and we're gonna keep these videos coming. All right, well, thank y'all very much for listening to this video. I pray that we grow and we act and we become doers of the word, not just hearers of the word. I have to figure out how can I incorporate this into my life, because I'm in the truck all the time. Anytime someone asks for some food, or anytime someone is hanging outside of a gas station and they say, hey, you got a little change, you got a little something, and I try to give them something or buy them something or whatever if I have it. But you may not always have it, so hey, if you don't have it, you don't have it. But look for opportunities. Incorporate these things into your life, and we'll keep moving forward. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Have an amazing Shabbat, and have a great one. Bye-bye.